flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes from last week's meeting?
I did. I thought they were fine. I moved to approve.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. Okay. Commissioner comments and committee reports. Do you have anything?
I did. The meeting that's scheduled for, I believe it's August 15th. Is there any way to move that to Monday the 14th? I have a little bit of a consulting gig I'm supposed to.
What's that? Is that our meeting? Or?
Just the regular Tuesday meeting you want?
Just like, yeah, we go to Monday. That would be, I mean, that week, that one time.
I don't think it would be a problem with that. Why don't we talk to Michelle about it and we could approve that next week?
I'm sorry, it was August 14th is Tuesday. We need to move it to the 13th.
You're moving it from Tuesday to Wednesday?
No, Tuesday to Monday.
Tuesday to Monday.
Yeah, 14th to the 13th.
Okay, cool.
If that works for everybody.
I don't think there'll be any problem. So why don't we? I'll put that on. We can talk about it next week and we'll make sure that there's no other problems with that. You want to write that down? So.
I have nothing.
Okay. I had ambulance advisory meeting. We went over a lot of the same material that he had brought to us here at the commission. We talked about the power cots, and I think there's going to be a recommendation from the board to go with the Furno system after all of the different categorizations and price and everything. So it's kind of a reversal of what we initially thought we would go with. I think they're doing a software change for their billing and reports. They had been using a state system, but it was not meeting the needs, and they came up with a new software system. It's the only thing new to report there that hadn't been already stated to the commission. Okay. No elected officials. New business. Hearing on petition to vacate roads.
Well, that's 1:30 minutes.
No. Oh, that's at clear 1:30?
Yeah.
This has changed. Okay, we'll skip over that. We have to wait. County councilor updates.
I do need to have an executive session with you for probably 30 minutes on an attorney-client matter. With regard to the opioid legislation, we also need to discuss, and this may be also a topic for executive session, whether you want to hire one of the attorneys or the attorneys that have talked to us. And I did notice that there is a problem with their contract, that I have reached out to them and they've suggested that they would change the contract, but I do need some guidance on whether you want to enter into that litigation.
Is that something that needs an executive session, do you think?
Yeah, probably. That should probably be an
Mr.
executive
Chairman, I
session.
suggest we have an executive session at the end of our meeting so we haven't got people coming and going.
Okay. We'll continue then and come back to that.
Don't we have a charter on this?
Yes, that's the next. Charter resolution for collection of delinquent real estate taxes.
This is the resolution that requires that treasurer apply when someone comes in to pay delinquent taxes, if they pay the most recent delinquent tax year first. And the practical effect of that is that people would not be allowed to keep their property 2.5 years delinquent to make sure that it stayed off the tax sale, but still maintain delinquencies continuously. It is the method that's used by statute in Johnson County. Wyandotte County has adopted a charter resolution that is similar to ours, or to this proposal, I should say.
Is this the same one that says redemption of real estate bid off by county and providing?
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, Pat, it says you really have to pay all your delinquent taxes. Stay off the tax.
Yes.
So you can't just pay part of it.
You can't just pay the most delinquent year. On homestead property, if it's 3 years delinquent, then it can go on a tax sale. And so if someone had delinquent taxes that were, say, 5 years worth of delinquent taxes in prior years, they might just come in and pay year 5, 4, depending on the year, in 3, and leave 1 and 2 delinquent, and catch those up the next year before they would go on a tax sale. So it's a policy decision. There probably would be some growing pains the first year that it's implemented, with people saying that they've organized their lives and their finances around remaining delinquent on the taxes. But after that, it probably would help to keep taxes current.
So when we pass this charter ordinance and then it's published,
It's published, and there's an opportunity for what's known as a protest petition. And if enough, I don't recall what the percentage is, but I believe it's 5% of the voters from the last election sign asking for a referendum on it, then you would either have to withdraw it or submit it to the vote of the people. And when we discussed it in the winter, we did our calculations of when to adopt it so that it would be on the general election, so you wouldn't have a lot of additional expense if this were on an election, or if you did have to have an election.
Any thoughts?
I'd go to adopt charter residence number
Do we have a
The charter resolution number would be 2.
2.
Okay, well, we had it as 1 because we didn't have any for 2018 yet, unless
Well, but
we used 2.
No, we've on the other resolutions we number them serially. We don't start over every year.
No, but this, because it's a charter, because we looked at the books before it came over.
Okay.
So charter resolutions, they have it as like the year and then however many,
Oh,
it
okay.
goes in order for charters, but it's up to you. You can do 2. I'm good with that. You're the lawyer, not me.
Well, it's your office's job, the clerk's job, to keep track of those. I thought we only had 1 charter resolution, and that was on meeting day. Are there?
We saw a couple other ones back there that said like 2003-1 and then like 2014-1. So we were just kind of
So there
going
you
off
go.
of that.
So my motion is for charter resolution number 2018-1.
I think
It should be 1 then.
not.
I'll just read the charter resolution exempting Atchison County, Kansas from the provisions of K.S.A. 792401A-B relating to the redemption of real estate bid off by the county and providing substitute and additional provisions thereof.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and second. Any additional words?
And if we
Mr.
do
Chairman,
have,
this has to be unanimous.
It does not have to be unanimous.
It doesn't.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 3-0.
and if we do have protests, we have timing depending on the ballot.
Right. That's why we put it the adoption today.
Okay, then we have next thing is a resolution for 2018 bridge projects.
This is authorization for the issuance of up to $2 million in general obligation bonds for the purpose of constructing or reconstructing bridges. There is no protest petition. It's effective upon publication, I believe, but there is no protest petition for using the funds strictly for bridges, but it does limit what you can use it for. You can't use it for roads. Obviously, there's some, the area that is, the approaches, I guess, count as part of the bridge.
Purchase of easements.
Yeah, that certainly would count in there. But realignment of a road, not immediately at the point of the bridge, would not be. Major realignment of the road not near the bridge would not be authorized. You couldn't use you couldn't use the bond money for that. You could put in other money to do that part of the project. But we have some projects that Husker Steel is ready to put shovels in the ground in the next 2 weeks, I think. So
That's down there west of Fromer Place, down there on those two bridges, which immediately affects Greg. So that's the reason I was pointing that out.
So
Depending on the time of the year,
Yeah.
4 or 5 times a day I go across those bridges. So
Yeah, I know that affects you, but I think that'll make a good.
You're going to be held up here in a couple of weeks for a while.
You're gonna have to go around.
that's
It'd be
fine.
worth it.
I'm just about done hay.
Well, you're done for a day or two anyway.
I'll just get Eric to check the cows and let the kids.
That could be worked out.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a resolution number ready for this one?
yes, I think it's 1438, but let me check that. Is that
Yes.
right? 1438.
1438. Do I hear a motion to pass the resolution?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. On this copy, there's a slight error, and it's got me down as Commissioner 3rd District. There's 2 3rd District Commissioners here, so I don't know if we need to have a different copy that's correct.
Just cross out the 3 on there.
Or should I just do that by pen, or?
I think we can. I think I can change it. Gilmore and Bill prepared those, but I think we have it in Word document.
FC guys.
But just before, we want to get this right, so just go ahead and sign this. It's got 2 3rd District, and we just have to see that. Okay.
Could he just cross out the 3rd and put 1 initial? Second. Or second initial?
I can fix it, reprint.
All right. And we will sign that when we get a new copy.
Does that page begin section 4 at the top? The signature page. Do it back.
Oh, we need one. Everything's always in the details. Should we? Yeah, that's what I was just gonna. Are we done with that?
I'm printing it, but yes.
Okay. We have some other people here, so do you have something?
No, we just came to see if there was discussion going on about bridge replacements.
Did you have any questions about that? I mean, nobody spoke up, so.
Seth approached us here a couple of weeks ago on the one down in Rollins Road. And then plans drawed up wanting to do a major overhaul down in there, straighten the road and a bunch of stuff. And he was going to look back into it, but we hadn't heard any more, which it sounds like the bond thing you guys got is not going to pay for a lot of road alignment.
No,
So
that
there's
was
going to be extra money coming out of that, sounds like, to try and do that. But we weren't really in for that.
what we passed today was just to get the ball rolling. It didn't have anything to do with the concrete. The plans aren't in concrete at this time. That's still being laid out and everything. So this just gets the appropriation of the money started for before we start shovels on the two bridges that do have concrete plans. We have to get everything signed off on. So when the funding does come, then it's available. So that bridge that you're talking about, there hasn't been a finalization of how that's going to be done or anything.
No, yeah, we realize that. But what I don't understand on a deal like that is, how do you guys go about having an engineering firm come down and do a lot of surveying and, I mean, come up with a whole bunch of stuff without even talking to the landowners or anything to go about that?
Well, he came to you when the engineers came up with their idea of that was their, they were initializing that.
Yeah, but that sounds kind of backwards, doesn't it? Because, I mean, what they come up with was trying to move this road 300 or 400 feet, quite a ways. It's going to make it a pretty good project that I would think you would kind of approach the landowners first and say, there's a possibility this bridge can be replaced or, whatever.
We had no idea that the engineers were thinking about skewing that bridge and putting it in a different slant or anything until after they came in and surveyed it.
Yeah, but my point is, though, is you guys are paying these engineers and then you're having to repay them, okay, because, well, what they come up with ain't going to work. So then you're repaying them again to come up with something else. And if that isn't quite an option, then you're going to repay them again to come up with something else.
Well, there's several different ways of looking at that. When that bridge, if we say, well, we want the bridge here, and tell the engineers, well, you need to put it here, and they could look at it and say, that ain't going to work. So when they came in there and they were suggesting the skewed bridge that led to the approach being changed. There was no discussion of the approach being changed until after the engineers talked about skewing the bridge in a different angle. So, I mean, we're not going out there and as a commission there trying to tell the engineers what to do.
I'm not suggesting that.
But that would almost have to be the way you would have to. You're saying that we needed to suggest to the engineers the way that we wanted that road to go before they engineered it.
I was saying that I think personally that the landowners should have been contacted, maybe before something even come about.
But we didn't know that there was any indication that there was going to be that they were going to come up with this. I mean, for us,
but this bridge got put on a list for a replacement.
Yes.
Okay, so when that come about, why didn't the landowners have any indication that bridge was even on a replacement list?
Because at that time we didn't know we was going to have to buy any right of ways. We were going to put it in the exact same place.
Yeah.
And it was an engineer saying, you can make this road safer if you would move it here to there. So we thought, well, okay.
So we tried, and if the right of ways aren't going to be sold to us, I don't think there's any push to. I don't know if there's any will to take the land or anything like that. I wouldn't do that, but I think it'll be just go back to the original, back to the drawing board, and have to put it back in the same identical spot. So then we shouldn't need any land acquisition.
I mean, my personal opinion, if the landowners would have been contacted and they could have had some kind of a meeting, and the only reason I bring this up is because the bridge to the south of it, they replaced here probably 15 years ago. And that's the way they went about it then. They come down because Kavanaugh, he was the commissioner for our district at that time. He come down and he says, we'd like to do something with this bridge. Had the landowners, everybody stood right there in the middle of the road and said, hey, we're all for it, what's the options? And it wasn't very long and they ripped the bridge up and put a new one in.
And they put it back in the same identical spot.
Yeah.
That's right.
And see,
I think one of the things that we're looking at is the amount of money that the engineers are charging for coming up with 3 options when one of them definitely isn't even an option.
I believe that the way that was is there was so much engineering for that project, wasn't it? And then they came up with the different options, but I mean, all within the same. I don't think they were charging per plan.
I think when I took it, it was what, 5,000 for the project.
For the project. So if they're coming up with a different plan, that's on them.
That's why you think they don't
Yeah.
charge extra for
It was so
3
much
options.
per.
Yeah.
But we have other options. We have other bridges we could replace. I think we can't make that road safer. I think we got to look at another bridge.
Well, we're not saying no to the bridge.
So,
Well, but there
We're
are
saying-
some that are questioning even
Well,
replacing that bridge.
They're saying to where they wanted to move it to.
Right.
They want
There's
to
no
go back.
argument on replacing the
Yeah.
bridge. Yes, it needs to be replaced. But as far as turned into a major, to me, I call it a major road project and moving it and trying to straighten the whole thing, and you've got to buy a lot of right of way and all that stuff. I mean, it's not a really highly traveled road to.
I guess I'm not exactly following because it seemed like the plan to replace the bridge is all right, but when the engineer suggested a different plan and you were contacted, correct?
Well, the
I mean-
meeting that it was discussed at here on a Tuesday
Here,
would have been the last Tuesday of May.
okay,
I got a phone call about 4:45,
okay,
and it was Seth, and he was talking about this bridge. I'd had people asking for a long time what was going over there with all that stakes and flags and everything. We knew absolutely nothing
As far as
He
the
says-
township standpoint.
as far as my
Mhm.
township, yeah, and or the board. And he said he couldn't get a hold of the landowners, and that was on the video.
Mhm.
There was one that I don't think he really tried that hard to get a hold of anybody. I don't know, because I called them in between 5:45 and 5:15, and they were all at our meeting in Potter at 6:30.
That evening.
They wanted to know what was going on.
Okay.
And I know 2 of them had never been contacted.
Yeah, I'm Tom Shealy. I'm one of the property owners. I knew nothing about it till the township informed me that the county was coming and talking about a new bridge. I like that stuff because they want to move it way down in the middle of the field. I'm for a new bridge right where it's at. Why straighten part of the road when the rest of it's crooked? You ain't gonna increase the speed or nothing there anyway. I've been there for 45 years and there's never been a wreck on that bridge.
Okay, well, I think that just came about after the engineer says if you skew this bridge to where I think they actually prefer that alignment. And then it got, well, why wouldn't we do this anyway? I think it was just kind of not an afterthought, but a thought after they were talking about it, well, should we do this at the same time? There's never been a thing that, boy, we're going to come in and
You say they tried to contact me. I've lived in the same place for 47 years and nobody's contacted me until I went to a township meeting. I don't know. That's what upsets me the worst.
Okay.
But I'm like to say, I'm for a new bridge where it's at. Any place else, we're going to have problems.
There was another thing that was brought up about that, and where's Russ? Is he looking for you?
I got the keys.
I believe that there was, if that bridge would be put in a different spot, then that one wouldn't have to be dropped and it could be open during construction. So
Well, I don't care if the road's closed.
Yeah.
They close it when they fix the
Okay.
other one.
You know,
I have no problem with it.
all the farmers have a different way of getting to their fields and using that road.
mhm.
There's 4 houses on the other side of the bridge that use it. I don't know how often, but I do know they do go through there some, but a lot of those, and all of them except for those 4 houses go out the other way. Cause it's a lot less rock road and they can hit the highway.
And basically, I'm the only one on that side of the bridge that has big farm equipment. And everybody else is on the other side. It's no big deal to them. The rest of the traffic is car and pickup traffic.
Mhm.
So I don't know why they want to move it way down there and spend $600,000 or $700,000 when they could probably put one there for $200,000.
Oh, it wasn't anything close to being that different on that.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's what we were informed.
That's what your guy told us, your county guy at the township, 600,000.
Difference between one plan versus the other?
No, he
No,
just said the
that's what the
600,000 down there were,
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, is the difference between the different,
because that
options.
other bridge was put there for a reason, because that's the narrowest spot down there. The further down you go, the more it's going to cost you. I guarantee you that. Creek's a lot wider, and you're going to have to haul in a lot of fill, and the right of way is going to cost you quite a bit too down there, because it goes through my bottom field.
And I don't think you're gonna have farmers. I mean, that bridge is not a farmer's issue because the other big farmer lives on the other side of the bridge and goes out that way. His farm stuff all goes out the other way because he's on that side of the bridge. So it's not like, you're trying to take the huge stuff.
So I guess the point of the whole thing is if the road would have to be closed to replace the bridge, it's not gonna, completely make somebody mad. I mean,
You may tick off a few hundred.
yeah,
Because that's mainly what that road is. People go through there and go hunt.
because at that certain point, there's access going, you can get north out for who lives there and same way to the south.
they have access out.
Yeah. And I think you're familiar with it. I seen you down in there about a week ago.
A week ago, a week ago. Sunday.
Yeah.
He was raking hay.
Yeah. Got down there. We travel with a little equipment, a little tractor rake and stuff like that. But I mean, it'd be great to have a newer bridge and a wider one, and see that the other one you would have crossed to the south. See, that's the other one.
The next one south.
Nice bridge.
Yeah.
Really nice bridge.
Yeah.
And that was really needed. Because see, we haul our grain out that way going south, but we don't, we can't go
And
north
technically,
across the
you're going around a great big hill there anyhow.
Mhm.
You could never straighten the whole road. You would just be straightening that one piece. And yeah, I think it's, according to everybody at our meeting, they would just as soon have it stay where it's at and keep the road going where it is.
But
They would rather, and what they brought up, was they would rather see the bridge on Phillips Road, something done with it, because it's one of those little narrow cement ones
Mhm.
that only one vehicle can get through. And that is bothering the farmers of
Well,
getting a lot of their
it has a
equipment
lot of-
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Heavy
got all of
equipment, traffic
Hankey's
and stuff
equipment
on
going through there, and
Yeah, we're
you
trying
know.
to get the structurally deficient,
Yeah.
structurally, what's the word?
Deficiency.
Structure critical.
Yeah, structure critical bridges, and that's kind of our first priority right now.
yeah, but they were
Yes.
saying this one's eaten out on one side. I don't know. I didn't go look.
Okay.
You know,
Inspection will show that up. So
Okay.
if it is, it'll
We
be
have how
addressed.
many bridges that were structure critical?
25. So
We're replacing 7, 8.
Well, right now 6 or 7.
6 or 7, yeah. Kind of depends on if some of these can't be done, we may have to swap out and do some smaller projects or something. We try to leave ourselves different
well, what
things
was
to
it?
do.
Was it 3 or 4 years ago? They went down by Charlie Klein's. It's further north, say a mile and a half further north of this small bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and they put a great big tube in there. They got rid of their small bridge.
Mm-hmm. Of course, KDHE and they tell us on that we can and can't do, what we'll carry, and what's a
So you think this other bridge has been looked at?
yes.
Okay. And it didn't qualify for anything?
Right. So it's going to have to be a bridge structure.
Well, at any rate, we're not trying to be a spoiler on the bridge.
No.
We'd like to see something.
Well, I'm
You know,
I'm sorry that
done there,
feathers got a little bit.
But I mean,
ruffled here,
I'm looking at not only our situation, but you're talking about replacing 7 bridges.
Mhm.
How many landowners know what's going on out here? With the other bridges.
Okay, noted.
I mean,
But
it's always better if you kind of got everybody in the loop a little bit.
like the thought of straightening the road hadn't even come up until the engineers.
Well, I'm not even looking at saying, I'm not even making the point of straightening the road. Are the landowners aware that their particular bridge on their road is able to be replaced?
Being looked at.
Yeah,
being
just
replaced.
okay.
I think it's.
If there's no ground acquisition, I would say no, they weren't notified. Because it's gonna go back to the same location.
So then that leaves it where this one, there was no land acquisition until the
Sure.
engineers decided to try to.
Yeah, or it had a different option, and that's what spurred all of the different decisions. Because that wasn't being looked at until after their initial survey of what could we do this or could we do that, and then we looked at the approach. So it's kind of like when you take a car to the shop and you're going to do transmission. Well, then something else as a mechanic is in there, the next thing gets looked at. So you kind of make decisions not based on what you want to do, but where it leads you, and that's kind of what happened in this case. I mean, and yeah, you should have been contacted before, and we'll take note.
Well, I mean, even if you're not having to acquire any land with it, I mean, everybody's got to deal with everybody on a deal with that. Even if you're just replacing the bridge, to me, it would be nice to know that, hey, there's going to be a new bridge coming. The guy might say, hey, I got some dirt right there you can have or something.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's a bad deal.
I just know as township trustee, I had a lot of people calling me wanting to know what was going on. And we kind of chalked it up to a fiber optic cable or something. And then all of a sudden, we found out this is what it was. And so I contacted some of the people, especially the people that were involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they all showed up at the meeting, so they could know what was going on.
Okay.
Well,
I probably should have called one of you guys and had you come too.
Yeah,
I never thought about it.
We don't want to get into condemning ground, but what I would call is we was going to make an offer on the ground, and if we refused it, we was going to just move on.
And not even do the bridge.
Possibly.
that was discussed, but it had no decision had been made on that.
No,
so I
but-
hadn't brought that.
So
option.
it more or less kind of sounds like that if the bridge had to go back in the same place, that wasn't going to happen.
Well, I think the goal of the engineer is to make the road safe. I know whereabouts, but I don't know how much ground they're wanting to take, how much safer it make. If we can make the road safer, build a better bridge, I think it's a win-win situation.
But it's just a little short area. You ain't straightening the rest, so you ain't changing nothing. You're just going to speed the traffic up for a half a mile stretch.
As long as you're aware, we got like 30 or 40 bridges we can move. We can jump right to the next one. I'm not trying to push you on. I'm just telling you like it is.
Well, I'm just saying, put it over here on the old highway going up Potato Hill. The county even bought ground and tore building down. They was going to straighten it up. Next thing is, the engineers put it back where the original one was.
That's because we heard a lot of flack of the length of time it's going to be closed. That if we went the other direction, the highway would be closed. That's why that was changed.
Well, at the time, they said they could build the bridge without closing it, and you just have to do it when they connected it.
Is that the one they done last year?
And I know that took 3 times longer than supposed to, but that state money involved, they awarded the contract. Our hands were tied, we couldn't enforce it. I'd go by there week after week, and there wouldn't be nothing done.
Well, I don't know. I went by there because I was in pasture. There'd be 1 or 2 guys sitting in a car.
I got you.
Our camera froze up.
So do I need to start recording? Yep. Okay, we're back. Sorry. I was like, it froze. I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Well, I heard, that's the reason I looked up, but
Well, and I
it
thought
made a
everything
noise.
was fine, and then I looked up there and I saw that it was froze, and I'm like, this is not good. So I texted Michelle.
We're trying to make improvements to the road, trying to make it safer. This is what we deal with. We got plenty of bridges. I say move on to the next one. You're a trustee. I mean, is that being outlined?
I have no problem with putting it right back where it's at.
I'd say move on.
Okay, as soon as Pat gets it back in, we'll deal with Europe next.
I believe the bridges are going to be 26 foot wide. New ones going in. They're going to be wide. They're going to be wider. And I don't know if you've seen any of those bridges. They are nice bridges. The Husbandsfield bridges are really nice.
They will have a weight limit.
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so.
No.
That's good. Excellent.
Now, don't quote me, but I don't think they did. Didn't you ask that question?
Yeah, I believe it's like the one east of Muskota going north up to, that's one, and right on the east side of Cummings is where you head east.
Another one.
That's another.
Okay.
I'm sure that I was just across that one.
Now, these the bridges that you had with your dual combine here 3 or 4 years ago, you were talking about one of those or both of them.
Yeah, the one
One's a 5 and one's a 6-10 limit, I believe.
I was having an issue with is the one to the intersection east of those two bridges and then north. I have to go 8 miles around.
That's a 12-ton limit, I believe, on that one. And it's a lot higher than the other two. It's either 10 or 12.
But it's narrow.
It's narrow, yeah. So one was weight limit, the other was actual physical barrier.
When we set our criteria, we went fracture critical, bus route, amount of traffic, and spread them throughout the community. Don't put them all in one day.
Yeah.
That was our criteria.
And that's a highly traveled road.
I think it'll be more highly traveled through because if they can come off that road west of where my place is and former place, and you can go straight west to the Blacktop. Also heard from a commissioner from Jefferson County that they are still thinking about hooking that Cheyenne Road up to their system, so that's not out of the ballpark. You know, it's because he was asking me about how it's in bad shape right now, but if we were going to maintain that, so yeah, we better get that.
Planning on doing something to the Cheyenne Blacktop to repair it. Have you driven it lately, or?
It's just we're going to have to do something on it, and I don't know if we really.
I would just encourage you to drive it sometime.
I've been on it. It's bad. There's no question.
You know when the Husker Steel is going to start on those
2 weeks.
Well, they haven't signed contracts yet, but they're wanting to, I think the first full week in July. Or the second, I guess the second week in July.
Just get 2 copies. Got 3 copies of the front page and 2 copies of the second. That's my mistake. Well, once. And what was the resolution number on that?
That's the bond one, right? 1438.
No, we've got the petition to vacate the road.
Yes. There is a report from the viewers, and Mr. Oswald is here.
We met at 8:15. We're there for a half an hour. Give anybody opportunity to come by and show up and voice any concerns they had.
Okay, this is a resolution of the Board of the County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, authorizing the vacation of a portion of 2 roads located in the town of Arrington and unincorporated portion of Atchison County, Kansas. Do I hear a motion to accept the vacation?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0.
And the landowners worked it out. Didn't one landowner get half the road up to a point and the other one, you guys worked that out?
So you, after all the bells and whistles, you're going to get it? Are you happy?
Yep.
Good. Sorry it's taking so long.
It's okay. Do I owe anything for like?
Yeah, there's some publication costs. I don't know what they are.
Send me a bill or?
Yeah. It's good too.
Would he be 100% or 50%?
They're assessed against the petitioner. So 100% is the answer.
Thank you.
Is that all you need from me?
Yeah.
What you guys be
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Craig.
you. Good luck with your house.
Hi, my name is Colin Gilbert. I'm trying to get my Eagle, and for my project, I'm trying to put a box in the city hall, the courthouse. Sorry, and I'm wanting to get it.
Preliminary approval, kind of, if we would be able to put it inside. It's going to be about 4 feet tall, about 1.5 to about 2 feet wide, and same depth.
I'm sorry, my hearing's bad. What did you say you wanted to put in?
It's a box to retire flags.
Oh, okay, cool.
A better way than
Oh, for people that have a flag to retire, they can
Yes,
bring it
yes.
in and it's
they bring it in,
repository for.
and then we come pick it up later.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
Mhm.
He's going to make it out of wood, try to make it look close to, I guess, if we put it inside, something close to the.
Core of the courthouse.
Yeah.
This is your Eagle project?
Touch base with Joe, best location.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any problem with approval. We'll just kind of need to find a space and make sure that what you build is appropriate for that location. Maybe kind of have an idea of what you're going to put in before, because if it sticks out, it could be a hazard if it's a tripping hazard, things like that. So,
And if we find a spot that you think is better, I mean, we can always tweak it, skinny, taller, shorter.
that's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah.
I think we'll need to touch base with Joe Bowen. He's our maintenance guy, and he could probably point out.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we make a motion to approve it on Joe's approval, and then Joe could the location, and he could get the dimensions and what they're going to build out. We don't want nothing, made out of plywood, look tacky, but it don't have to be made out of wood either. But
Sure.
I would say Joe would be the go-to guy.
That was a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pass
I
3-0.
just want you to repeat all that.
And the motion was for you to check with Joe Bowen or maintenance, tell him what you're doing. You had the commissioners okay, where would be a location and what size, and give him maybe a drawing or
Joe's office is located in Memorial Hall.
Memorial Hall.
Okay.
And then Michelle Phillips has the phone number in the office that she brought you over.
Yeah.
In the clerk's office, she can get you a phone number as well.
Is that on the left side of Memorial Hall?
You go in the door, it's on the right side. It's far right side.
Okay, okay.
Go in the front, go to the right.
Good luck with that.
Well, congratulations. Eagle's a big deal.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
You got your names?
No, I have.
Oh.
I had Colin Gilbert. I did get that.
Colin Gilbert, Colin. And what's your name?
Charles.
Charles?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, just need a couple more small things to do here. And we have a,
Pat wanted us to address the opioid, and then we're going to discuss facilitator.
well, first of all, we've got a PO for Shelley Nelson on furniture that she's buying out of the leftover funds, the different JISP, AISP fund, and the CMA equipment fund.
And this is not part of the taxpayers. This is a governmental loan that's coming from.
It's not coming from county tax money, it's
Right.
coming from the state.
Yes,
But it is tax dollars.
Yeah, this is not the county piece.
subject to our approval. Sure. Do I hear a motion to approve for PO?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 3-0. Okay, the next thing is we've been talking and have interviewed people for the position of facilitator, strategic planning facilitator. I think it's been suggested to us by employees and department heads. They suggested that we select Trudy Rice, who is with the Kansas State Extension Service. Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, whoever is not successful, we're going to send them a letter.
Yes, we
Probably,
should.
I mean, I don't know who's responsible for sending letters like that.
I would probably, we ran that through Jamie in HR, so I will have her contact.
Let's see, we had, three, Mr. Seddick, Chamber, or what was the other thing?
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce,
Department of Commerce.
and then we had another, Saeed, something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that he was from Chamber of Commerce.
He was one from Chamber?
Do I hear a motion to accept Trudy Rice as the facilitator?
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 3-0. Okay, Pat said that we need two separate.
There's two different matters, yes.
So we will have to go in, come out, and then go back in, correct?
Well, they're both attorney clients. You can do them in one, but it probably be more than half an hour, so maybe 45 minutes.
45
or we
minutes.
could do half an hour and then go back in if we need to extend it.
Why don't we do the half an hour? We can always come back out and extend it if we can't do them both. So, do I hear a motion to
Attorney client.
somebody else? Actually, is point of order. Is it not fitting for the chairman to make the motion? I mean, I have done it, but
You may, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I have done it, and I was corrected. Someone corrected me, and I thought I was okay with it, but I wanted to make sure.
I would move that the Board of County Commissioners recess executive session at 1:50 p.m. for consultation with attorney for the public body, which is deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed by K.S.A. 75-431, parentheses B, parentheses 2, for the purpose of the closed session is to protect confidentiality of discussion and that the board come out of executive session at 2:40 p.m. in the commission room, first floor. Those present will be County Councilor Pat Henderson, Bill Paul, Jack Bauer, and Eric Knoll.
Like you said, 2:40. It would be 2:20 in a half an hour. Did we say half an hour?
Well, I said 2. I meant 2:20.
2:20.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. We are now in executive session. We're just here to.
I'd move
Yeah,
to,
and you vote to sign it.
Yes.
I would move to adjourn.
Is there anything more?
Make sure that everything's signed.
No, I haven't looked at the bills yet, but I don't do that during the meeting.
Okay. It's been moved to adjourn.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. 3-0.
Getting back to